So Andrew Yang has been making the rounds on mainstream media. So he did announce it. I knew he was already, raising money for this party, but it became official actually yesterday. He went on CNN, and I saw people on MSNBC talking about this as well, about the Forward Party. So it says group of Republicans and Democrats form new political party to appeal to moderates. Now I'm going to play this video, but before I do have to say this. Why is this a moderate party instead of a party that is further left? I don't even mean progressive. I mean further left. I would like to see a Marxist party, another socialist party, something. But moderate, we have enough moderates. I'm tired of the moderates. I'm tired of the centrists. I thought this was going to be something different. I didn't really care too much for that platform. I told you I didn't see Medicare for All on there, and that made me suspect. But come on, Yang. Moderate. Oh, boy. Listen to the video. Here's his interview here on CNN.
When you have 50% of the American people saying that they are registered independent, or the voters, of registered voters, or voter independent, people are sick and tired of what they're seeing in Washington and the fact that nothing major is getting done. It's frustrating them. We have big problems, and we want to see them just resolved. And so we need to get back to a time when people will talk to one another. And we're talking about bringing people together. You can keep your party label, Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. But let's work together to solve problems. Let's elect those candidates who understand that our electoral process is the best in the world, and it's secure. And we need to...
What? She just said our electoral process is the best in the world and it's secure. No, it's not. Pasta was on here a couple of weeks ago talking about the elections in Colombia. Sounds like to me their elections are more secure than the elections we have here in the United States. They actually have paper ballots for the entire country. They count the ballots in front of the people. So no on that one, hun. No.
Pick those candidates who will say, I'll work across the aisle because I want to get things done.
So, Andrew, I want to correct myself. I said it so rarely works. It actually has never worked, just to be very clear. So let's talk about some of the obstacles here. And one might actually be the policies because, look, there are significant differences policy-wise between Democrats and Republicans. What are your policies going to be that you can actually agree on?
62% of Americans now want a third party, a record high, because they can see that our leaders aren't getting it done. And when you ask about the policy goals, the fact is the majority of Americans actually agree on really even divisive issues. The most divisive issues of the day, like abortion or firearms. There's actually a common sense coalition position on these issues and just about every other issue under the sun. The tagline of the party is it's not left or right, it's forward. And when you think about what that would mean on each issue, actually the policy becomes pretty clear when you just ask the American people. The American people are fed up by the fact that our leaders aren't actually responsive to the needs or the will of communities around the country.
So, Governor,
you just ask the American people. The American people are fed up by the fact that our leaders aren't actually responsive to the needs or the will of communities around the country.
So, Governor,
But what were the policies, though? Like, I know he mentioned something about gun reform, but that's the question. I do have this question. What are they actually going to agree on in reference to policies? Are they going to agree on healthcare, like Medicare for All? They're going to agree on that together, because I don't even think Andrew Yang supports Medicare for All anymore. So, like, what? I guess I'm just having a difficult time understanding if it's a moderate party, then what are they going to do differently than what the Democrats and the Republicans are already doing? If they're taking corporate money, then what are they going to do differently than what the Democrats and the Republicans are already doing? I don't know.
That issue, guns, for instance, what would the policy be that would unite enough people to make a third party successful?
Well, first of all, understand what we're going to be doing is holding a series of listening sessions basically around the country to talk to people about that very issue. But I can tell you right now that you've seen in every poll, the majority of the American people believe there should be some kinds of restrictions, a waiting period. There should be a background check. Frankly, you don't want to put guns in the hands of people who've had no training. So people would.
So is it just about gun reform? Like that's my question. Is that the one policy where they will agree? I guess I'm confused. I'm a little bit confused here because she asked her a pretty simple question there. Like, what is it? Oh, we will talk about those at the listening sessions. No, tell people now. Otherwise, you don't sound legit. Like, just being real here. Just being real. Like, I guess I'm struggling here. I would really like to have this conversation with Andrew Yang. I still couldn't find contact information from him. But I'd also like to get Jill Stein's opinion about this forward party as well. But I can't with the centrist. See, look centrist play. I can't. That's what I'm saying. Like, how is this going to be that different? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Would like to see some training. Those are the issues around which we can coalesce. We're not going to solve everything. We're not going to solve everybody's problem. And you're not going to make everybody happy because, as you rightly point out, there's a great deal of division on some of these issues. But when you start peeling back that onion, it's amazing how much common ground you can find. And then you have a position from which to move forward.
But what is the common ground that you found? When she says, if you peel back this onion, it's amazing how much common ground you can find. That's great. But what is it? Like, that's all they're asking you. Sabby don't know about this.
And that's what we need to do. And once you start that process, there's going to be no stopping it, quite frankly.
Andrew, guns, some agreement in Congress recently on this. Is that not enough?
Well, when you talk about the need for a political realignment, the fact is Abraham Lincoln won as a third-party candidate with 39% of the vote. We can all tell that this system is failing the American people. 88% of Americans think we're on the wrong track. We know that polarization is just getting worse, not better. Leaders like Governor Whitman have crossed party lines, and that's exactly what the American people want to see more of. The fact is this two-party system is disintegrating before our eyes and is uniquely subject to authoritarianism. Because if you have one of the two major parties head down a dark path, the entire system can go dark, which is not the way other democracies function, and it's not the way the founding fathers imagined our country functioning either.
Different party system, though, right, over time. Governor, how do you get past the issue of closed primaries? I mean, that is key if you're going to make any sort of third party successful rather than just a spoiler.
Okay. It's interesting that she brought up the closed primaries, but I would have rather her. So I know how she responds to this, but nothing. Let me let it play and I'll come back.
No, that's absolutely true. And it is a challenge, but it's happened before. We've gotten on the ballot. I was part of a process, now it must have been 12 years ago, where we were able to get on the ballot in enough states to get the requisite votes in the Electoral College to qualify for the debates, which is one of the things you want, the sanctioned debates. But you can do it. It's not going to be easy. We're not saying that this is going to happen overnight. This is something we're going to be working on, but we believe and really know that there's a hunger in the American people for something else besides what they're being given. And what we're saying is, we'll give you an alternative. If you're interested in.
So here's my question. Two things. When she asked that question about closed primaries, I think it would have been great for the woman who responded. I think it would have been great if she would have said, well, actually, we might be more concerned about the Democratic Party taking third party candidates off the ballot. This would have been a good time for either one of them to bring up Matthew Ho's situation. In fact, CNN, why haven't you brought on anyone from the Green Party? Has CNN brought on Matthew Ho to talk about what happened with him, what the Democratic Party has done to him? I want to prove a point here because I think that the reason that Andrew Yang is getting this attention, he's on CNN, he's on MSNBC, he's on Fox News, talking about this party is not just because it's new, but because of who he is, because he's Andrew Yang. He knows a lot of people in the tech industry. Andrew Yang knows a lot of people, big movers and shakers. You got to remember, he started Venture for America. So he's been in this game for a while. So this is my question. If you're having this discussion about third parties, CNN, why don't you bring on anyone from the Green Party? Why didn't you bring on anyone from these other, like there's a socialist party, why didn't you bring on any of these other third party people who have been a part of these parties for a long time? Why aren't you hearing from them? It's all about who you know. All about who you know. But I would have brought up what happened with Matthew Ho. That would have been a perfect opportunity to get that message out to a national audience, millions of viewers, and say to them, hey, did you guys know that the Democratic Party are out here doing things to prevent people like Matthew Ho from being on the ballot, even though he met the requirements? Yeah, that's another reason why you need to leave the two-party system. See how corrupt they are? That's how you do it, and you spin it right back. That's my take. That's what I would have done. That would have been a great time.
Get in touch with us. Get in touch with us now. Let us know. We can build coalitions in your community, start talking about these issues, and let's move forward.
Okay. Let me come out of here. No, we do not want to see you right now. So I don't know, man. I just, for me, I have so many questions, but I'm not the only one that has questions. Apparently, Emma Vigilant had some questions too, and she had some things to say about Andrew Yang's new forward party on Majority Report. And they really, knocked it down here. I got to tell you, they really knocked it down. But you guys have to be suspicious of the fact that there's been third parties around for so long, and they don't want those people to come on. They don't want to bring them on. It's only because it's Andrew Yang and who he is. But I would like to see them bring on someone from the Green Party to tell them how it really is. But here's Emma Vigilant. She is not happy with Andrew Yang's third party. Of course, she is not for third parties anyway. But listen to this.
To plug their third party. Also, former Representative David Jolly. I guess it was the three of them together. Now, there's nothing really substantive in this op-ed, but let's go through it a bit because here they are saying that their third party is not going to fail, unlike most third parties. And Owen Higgins had a great tweet where I
hope you caught what she just said. She mentioned Owen Higgins, by the way. That's the same guy who's smearing the marches for Medicare for All right now, by the way. So that lets you know who's in company with who.
Screen grab from when Tobias in Arrested Development suggests an open marriage and says, well, for most people, it doesn't work and it ends in horror, but it might work for, and they delude themselves into thinking it'll work for them, but it might work for us. That's this op-ed personified. You could put this up here. Yeah, most third parties have failed. Here's why ours won't.
Oh, like literally, it says that. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Political extremism is ripping our nation apart, and the two major parties have failed to remedy the crisis. Scroll down, scroll down.
Can you control find first past the post?
So
We're going to skip through this part because that part takes a while, but you guys can read that article on your own as well. Some of the things they say are kind of cringe though, but here we go.
To form a new third party. Now, here's the details behind these three groups who came together. See if you could find the Democrat for me. The merger involves the Renew America movement, formed in 2021 by dozens of former officials in the Republican administrations of Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump. The Forward Party, founded by Yang, who left the Democratic Party in 2021 and became an independent, and the Serve America movement, a group of Democrats, Republicans, and independents whose executive director is former Republican Congressman David Jolly. So what it sounds like to me is that you got frankly, at least one group that's fully Republican, that first one, Renew America Movement, a second group that apparently has some unnamed Democrats who are part of it, but the group is still led by Republican Congressman David Jolly. And I looked at their website, and it seems like the main team is all Republicans as well. And then you have the Forward Party, which is Yang, who I guess is doing a lot of work holding that former Democrat line for that.
So if there were the Democrat there that they're looking for, whatever it is they're looking for here, obviously he's saying that there is no Democrat or whatever, unless Yang is taking that spot. So I'll ask you this question. If they had more Democrats there, would they be okay with this? No, they still wouldn't be okay with it because they're against third parties. That's just the reality of the situation. They've had this discussion on Majority Report before about third parties, and they're against third parties because they don't think that they're viable. They don't think that they work. How's putting progressive through the Democratic Party working out for us? Because I haven't seen that work. And we've been doing that for a couple of years.
Whole third party.
Also, if they had more Democrats in this group, they probably realized that like what they're doing is just the Democrats' shtick since the 90s. Like this idea that they're with less details. And so the idea that there might be a far left in this country and a far right, and we need a center party is the Democrats' whole messaging now. This is just the Democratic Party's line, but with less details. And so that's another just a sign that Andrew Yang is entirely divorced from the way politics actually engage in this country. And the more internet politics conversations, like the people like Elon Musk would say Democrats are moving too far left. It's like, okay, you mean AOC, like the one Democrat in the party who wants to sort of do something sometimes, and like, yeah, she's really far left, and it's just like, but she has no power, so it doesn't matter. But I don't think this idea that the Democrats are moving far enough to the left to justify someone between Democrats and Republicans is going to work out.
I have to jump in here for a second because I keep hearing this talking point. Like, again, I think this whole forward party thing being centrist and moderate, I don't approve of. I'm not going to try to be centrist or moderate. That's not who I am. I don't think we need more centrists and moderates. We already have that. But this idea that the Democratic Party is moving further left is bullshit. I keep hearing that on mainstream media, and I hear people on Majority Report saying this too. The Democratic Party is not moving further to the left. The Democratic Party has been moving further to the right for years. Wake up, pay attention, and look at what is going on. If the Democratic Party was moving further to the left, we would have some of these tangibles that we were fighting for. No? If we had Medicare for all, then maybe I'd say, yeah, they're moving further to the left. If they canceled student loan debt, and I mean all of it, not no $10,000, not no $50,000, all of it, then maybe I'd say, hey, yeah, they are moving further to the left. No, they can't even give you paid sick leave in this country to everybody. The Democratic Party has been moving further and further to the right over the course of, I would say, the past 15 years. They are not moving to the left. Just because you have a few so-called progressives that are in Congress, that doesn't mean the party itself is moving. In fact, if anything, those progressives that went in are moving further to the right. The party is controlling them. So I wish people would really stop saying this. It drives me crazy. Really, let's get out of here with this talk.
It's just obvious too, because yes, as you say, as we pointed out, he's straw manning or the piece, every position that the Democratic Party is supposed to have, or late term abortions. No one is advocating for that. In fact, Democratic leadership, the leadership of the party that they're claiming has gone too far left, is too afraid to even say the word abortion. And Nancy Pelosi is doing photo ops with the Pope as a way to just appeal to the voters that, she feels might be a little scared about the word abortion. They aren't doing anything to actually codify the right to any kind of abortion in the red states that have these trigger laws in place.
Yeah, she's right. But they still gonna tell you to vote for them, though.
None of that stuff. I mean, it's all mythical as a way to sell their own grift, and I'm sure they'll get some donations and run away with it.
You know
The
who's
further
part
away-
of this? You know who's part of this? You remember back in like 2018, there was like an anonymous Trump official who wrote a column for the New York Times about how he was so disgusted with the president, and he's going to try to take it down from the inside. And then it came out as this
They're
guy.
like one of those a week.
But this guy, right? This guy, Miles Taylor, he is part of this new party, and this BuzzFeed News article from 2020 detailed how Miles Taylor was actually a high-ranking official in Trump's Department of Homeland Security and was involved in a lot of the Trump administration's zero tolerance policies and defended these immigration policies of Trump as well. When we're talking about just how unlike the modern-day Republican Party this third party is going to be like, well, this guy is apparently one of the major figures who are part of it.
Right. But how did I know they would bring this back to Donald Trump? Right. But I think Yang's whole point, though, is that he's not looking for a certain type of label per se. He said independents, Democrats, Republicans, all of them under one umbrella. So even if someone was a Trump supporter, Yang would probably still welcome them into the forward party. So I think, I think what's happening here, and I talk about, the class issue a lot on the show. I think that when you are so deeply, vote blue no matter who, when you're so entrenched in the Democratic Party, or you're so entrenched in the Republican Party, it can really blow your mind when someone says, how about all of us get together on the issues and fight for the issues? Now, I would argue with Yang doing this and saying it's going to be centrist or it's going to be moderate. I don't think that's really going to change anything from what we have going on. But when I say get together on the issues and let's fight against them together, regardless if you're Republican or Democrat, these are things that people actually need that can really change their life. And I'm talking about doing it along class lines. From what I see happening with the Forward Party, and I can double check this, I'm not hearing about class. I'm not hearing about the class issue. From what I'm seeing so far, it seems to be a bunch of people that have a lot of money and bringing in more money. So I think this is the piece I think that's missing, right, with the Forward Party. If you're going to bring together Democrats, Republicans, independents, you got to bring them together on class lines, the class issue. That would be the best way to do it. But other than that, like I said, when it comes to the political issues, if you're only pointing to the gun legislation issue, then what are the other issues where they're going to agree? And I think that's the struggle that I have with this party. Like I said, I'm not pro Forward Party. I'm just not for it. But I want you to hear what they're saying on Majority Report as well, because they have some good takes here and there about this issue, some of the same concerns that I have. But I also want you to realize that they are against third parties. So even if Yang's party had more Democrats, like they're suggesting, they would still be against it because it's a third party. They think it's ridiculous. They don't see it viable. They don't think outside the box. They only stay within the box. And anything outside of that, they can't see possible. Too many limitations.
I think the further away that Andrew Yang gets away from his techno-libertarianism that was his defining characteristic in the Democratic primaries, the less relevance he's going to have, because no one's dying to see Andrew Yang talk about anything other than UBI and how being involved in big tech is going to allow him to disrupt the, atmosphere of the political space or some shit that he says. That's he's very his TED Talk stuff. When he gives his TED Talk instead of actually talking about politics. This is, I don't think anyone's dying to have him be the face of a new third way system. It's just not going to work out. He's lost his relevance. He should have kept with the UBI.
And
see, this is another point that other people have been bringing up as well, that they think that he should have just stuck to UBI and just kept moving with that and stopped trying to do all these other things. But he is an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs do different things. I mean, they don't always do the same thing all the time. So I think it's really interesting. I feel like Andrew Yang has been pigeonholed ever since he ran for office. When he ran for president and when he ran for mayor, he kind of got tagged as the UBI guy. And I think that's all some people see him as. They can't see past that. And I think that's unfortunate, because obviously if he was an entrepreneur, he was doing something else, obviously, besides UBI. But I feel like he's kind of become typecast in that sense. So any other like idea that he comes up with as a political idea, people think it's silly and ridiculous. I've been noticing this.
And honestly, like I doubt that there are any candidates that they're going to put forward in the foreseeable future. But say they put up just a presidential candidate and Andrew Yang is at the face of it or something, right? When 2024 rolls around, and maybe it's even him. That is indistinguishable from what the Green Party does, which is they have largely abandoned electing candidates on the grassroots level. They seem to just pop up every 4 years to run someone for president, and then they go away.
What? Are there any Green Party members in the chat tonight? Because what she's saying right here, that's actually not true. See, again, they're in a box. She's thinking about the Green Party on the national level. Why they only talk about national politics? She's not thinking about what they have done on the local level. Listen to what she said about the Green Party. This go to show you they're not, no.
Characteristic in the Democratic primaries, the less relevance he's going to have, because no one's dying to see Andrew Yang talk about anything other than like UBI and like how being involved in big tech is going to allow him to disrupt the, atmosphere of the political space or some shit that he says. That's like, he's very like his TED Talk stuff, when he gives like his TED Talk instead of like actually talking about politics. Like I don't think anyone's dying to have him be the face of a new third way system. It's just not going to work out. Like he's lost his relevance. He should have kept with the UBI.
And honestly, like I doubt that there are any candidates that they're going to put forward in the foreseeable future. But say they put up just a presidential candidate and Andrew Yang is at the face of it or something, right? When 2024 rolls around, and maybe it's even him. That is indistinguishable from what the Green Party does, which is they have largely abandoned electing candidates on the grassroots level. They seem to just pop up every 4 years to run someone for president, and then they go away. And so, yes, your third party will fail.
So what she said there about the Green Party is not true. Let's take the example of Matthew Ho. Matthew Ho was running, met all the requirements to get on the ballot in North Carolina. I told you guys what the Democratic Party did to him, right? They were taking names off. Okay, well, we don't want to, we're just going to throw it all out so you can't get on the ballot. Why? Because Matthew Ho actually stood a good chance. So Emma's idea here that the Green Party has given up running grassroots candidates, that's not true. The Green Party actually has done pretty well on the local level. See, you don't hear them mention that. You can look this up for yourself. They've done pretty well on the local level. In fact, a Green, I have to pull this up. I believe a Green won a mayor election a couple months ago. I have to check that as well. But that's not true. You see how they spread this information to like give people false, like to make sure that you don't even try to vote third party? Have they had Matthew Ho a majority report? Phenomenal mysticism. That's a lie, Emma Vigilant. The Green Party always runs candidates outside the presidential election. Exactly. But either she doesn't know that because she didn't do the research, or she does know that, but she doesn't want her audience to know that. It's terrible. This is look at the look on her face. She wants it to fail. I may not agree with the platform for forward policy, but look at the look on her face when she says it. She wants it to fail.
I doubt that there are any candidates that they're going to put forward in the foreseeable future, but say they put up just a presidential candidate and Andrew Yang is at the face of it or something, right? When 2024 rolls around, and maybe it's even him. That is indistinguishable from what the Green Party does, which is they have largely abandoned electing candidates on the grassroots level. They seem to just pop up every 4 years to run someone for president, and then they go away. And so, yes, your third party will fail.
See? Look at the look on her face. She wants it to fail. Do you guys see where people have been getting their information from? On the left media? You see where they've been getting their information from? This is why you need more voices in this space. This is exactly why you need more voices in this space. It's really funny to me because some of the same people who say that, we need to be progressive, we need to be left, as much criticism as they give the Green Party's platform is actually further left than a lot of these progressive candidates that ran through the Democratic Party. Green Party had reparations on their platform. That's all I'm going to say about that. Green Party had reparations on their platform. Bernie Sanders did not. So when I tell you, when we say over at RBN that Bernie Sanders was the compromise, he was the compromise for us. They don't want to talk about that. Thanks for the super chat, Darren. Carville is married to Mary Madeline, former counselor to Vice President Dick Cheney. One big club. Well, well, well. Thank you for the super sticker, Terry Hinton. Thanks so much. Sebastian says, Sabby, there's the Party for Socialism and Liberty in Boston. That's right. That is right. Thanks for the super chat, Cryosynth42. Forward. You back to the Uniparty. Forward you back to the Uniparty. Thank you for that. Here Goes says, Kim Iverson supports Yang's party. You should reach out and interview her, Sabby. Yes, I think I have. Wait, I think I did recently. Maybe that was yesterday. I have to double check. I do want to bring her back on. But yeah, I could talk to her about it too. Thank you for the super chat, Jay, the informant. CNN only invites non-Dems like Yang there to attack them. Let's not forget how they treated Ice Cube. Joe Biden still haven't reached out to Ice Cube. No, he hasn't. It was all talk. JB says, but what would the difference between the duopoly and the forward party? That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to know. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I don't understand. Like, centrist party? Thank you for the super chat, Rodrigo. Suspicious of a third party covered positively by corporate media, especially CNN, which is infiltrated by deep state officials who meddle in elections. Boom. Good point, Rodrigo. And Astro says, I'm not against the forward party existing. I'm against it sucking. Middle of the road is useless for the populace.